Happy Monday, everybody. Dr. Peter Glidden here, your steadfast advocate for health, pulling back the curtain on all things medical and ushering people into the wonderful, undiscovered country of science-based, clinically verified medical nutrition. This forwarded to me this morning by my friend and longevity associate, Jarmel. Sent me this email that he posted off of, or he took off of Medscape, medscape.com. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration, otherwise known as the FDA, has placed testosterone products, most antidepressants, and the cancer drug Adcetris, made by Seattle Genetics, on its latest list of medications to monitor because of potential unconfirmed health risks. This was just announced June 16th, 14 days ago. The FDA said that it would scrutinize testosterone products because it had received reports suggesting the possibility of abuse, misuse, or dependence. The products were indicated for men with low testosterone levels associated with other medical conditions. In terms of negative publicity, testosterone has had a bad week. Yesterday, in an unrelated announcement, the FDA said that it was requiring manufacturers of testosterone to add a general label warning about the risk for venous blood clots. The current label mentions this risk for testosterone users who experience polycythemia, an abnormal increase in red blood cells that sometimes is associated with testosterone use, unexpected, unintended consequences. However, the agency said yesterday that it had received reports of venous blood clots in patients who did not have this blood condition. Meanwhile, the agency continues to study whether or not testosterone increases the risk for stroke and heart attack. Well, don't you think that would have been a good thing to do before you gave it an okay? I mean, really, don't you think that would have been a good thing to do before you gave it an okay? Remember, the Food and Drug Administration does not work on behalf of United States citizens. The Food and Drug Administration works on behalf of the pharmaceutical concerns in the United States and around the world. All antidepressants except MAO inhibitors made the agency's watch list because of signals of angle closure glaucoma. Some research has linked antidepressants to glaucoma in elderly patients. Now, an appearance on the list does not mean that the FDA has determined that the drug poses a health risk. However, the agency will investigate if there is a causal link. If such a link is established, the agency would then consider a regulatory response, which can include, get this, gathering more information, revising the drug's label, or requiring a risk evaluation and mitigation strategy, but never, ever, ever removing the drug from the marketplace. Never, ever, ever removing the drug from the marketplace. We talked about a cancer drug, a chemotherapy drug, which was approved in 2011 to treat Hodgkin's lymphoma and systemic anaplastic large cell lymphoma. The drug brentuximab vedotin, because it may lead to liver toxicity. And in 2012, the FDA ordered a boxed warning for the drug about the risk of progressive leukoencephalopathy, a rare but serious brain infection. So here's the deal, right? I mean, let's think this through. So you're a multi-gazillion dollar pharmaceutical industry and you dream up a drug. Remember, drugs can only exist as patentable items if the chemical formula has never ever existed before in nature, right? Can't never have existed before in nature. It must be a man-made drug, must be a man-made substance. You can't go to Washington, D.C. and patent oxygen, right, or orange juice. You can't do it. So in order for a drug to be patentable, which means that the only company that can make it is the company that made it, that dreamed it up, patents will expire after a number of years, and then you get the generic form of the drug. But in order for a drug to be patentable, the molecule has never had to exist before on planet Earth. So a drug company dreams up a biochemical, the intention of which is not to fix the root cause of the disease, the intention of which is not to cure the disease, the intention of which is simply to suppress symptoms and perhaps in the best case scenario mitigate the acceleration of the disease process. Now, because when you throw a man-made synthetic pharmaceutical agent into a living, breathing biochemical machine, holistic machine endowed with a spiritual essence and an intelligence and trillions of moving parts, that's like throwing, barbed wire into the giant gears of the clock and something's going to get upset. You're going to knock something out of whack. You have to. It's inevitable. It's guaranteed. This is why every drug in the world creates side effects. Because the drugs do not intend to work with the biochemistry of the body. The drugs do not intend to support and promote the body's natural ability to regulate and optimize its structure and function. The drugs are an attempt to exert a hostile takeover of the biochemistry of the body, and in so doing, they create side effects just as part of the deal. Now, we have become inured to this process. We think that this is just the way that it has to be because we've let the pharmaceutical companies tell us, which tune to dance to and which rhythm and for how long for the last 100 years. So, there's a drug, synthetic, man-made, patentable drug for profit, the intention of which is not to fix the disease, but simply to upregulate or downregulate a certain biochemical pathway in the body, which is itinerant with, which comes along with a boatload of side effects, not the least of which in many cases is death. And the FDA understands that there are certain risks associated with the drug. And so they'll list the risk on the label of the drug. Warning, right? This drug may cause stroke. Warning, this drug may overly thin your blood and you'll bleed to death. Warning, this drug may induce depressive episodes and you want to shoot yourself. Warning, this drug may do this, that, or the other thing, and they leave it at that. And they think that the patient is supposed to be able to interpret this warning on the side of the pharmaceutical box and then take the appropriate action. Or the doctor is supposed to attend to these things, but that never happens. The doctor doesn't care that your high blood pressure medication is going to create type 2 diabetes in 5 years. He doesn't care about that. He knows that it's going to happen. It's right on the label. They know that it's going to happen, but the doctor prescribes it anyway. The oncologist knows that the chemotherapy drug has a chance of giving liver, kidney, or lung cancer, but they're going to prescribe it anyway. Just because they put the warnings on the box is supposed to be, your hedge against improper, medication, disease, and death. But it's not. It never is. They just put a warning on the side of the box, and, everybody goes about with their business, and this is bad and wrong. And yet, like with L-tryptophan years ago, when there's even a shadow of an inkling of there might be a problem, and by the way, the research that said that was a problem was bogus research, they yank it right off the market immediately. They don't put a warning on the side of it. They don't require vitamin companies to put a warning on the side of it, in this case L-tryptophan. They just yank it right off the market. Well, why don't they do the same to drugs? Because the Food and Drug Administration does not have the back of the American consumer. The Food and Drug Administration has the back of the pharmaceutical company. They are not there to protect you. They are there to coddle the pharmaceutical industry. Now, is that right or is that wrong? Well, that's wrong because it's a federal institution and its job is supposed to be there to protect the consumer, but it's not. I mean, God loved the free market. So the pharmaceutical companies can do whatever they have the money to do. They can wield as much political power as they have the money to do, and I guess that's just life. But when it's under the cloak of darkness, so to speak, when it's through smoke and mirrors and delivered to us, the Food and Drug Administration, it's got your back. No, it does not. Leading cause of death in the United States, MD-directed medical therapeutics. Leading cause of bankruptcy, MD-directed medical therapeutics. 500,000 people killed from Vioxx, one drug. Vioxx, one drug. 500,000 people dead, one drug. Nobody goes to jail. And the company that makes the crap is still alive and well and rolling out more stuff for you to take. So, beware the label on the bottle, number one, but number two, be advised. And remember, we're not against drugs, right? It's not the drug, it's how it's used. It's not the gun, it's how it's used. Again, thank God for penicillin, Novocaine, the sterile technique, right? The mattress suture. These things are all good, but when they are properly used. But remember, the most important take-home message here is to understand right down to your bones. The tissue change, the tumor, the asthmatic lung, the enlarged heart, the eczematous eruption, the fungal infection, the deformed nail, the deformed joint, the inflammation in the joint, the Baker's cyst behind the knee. These things are not the disease. They are the result of the disease. And your MD may be the nicest person that God ever created. But your MD is not trained to be concerned with what causes disease, nor are they trained how to cure disease. Now, as long as you understand that, you're good to go. I mean, if you wouldn't go to a plumber, or you wouldn't go to a swim coach to help you with the plumbing in your house, even though the swim coach works in water all day long, but the type of water that you have an issue with is not in his wheelhouse. Well, chronic disease is not in the wheelhouse of your MD. It's just not. Because they are not trained how to fix it. They are not trained as to get to the root cause of what causes it. They're only trained to manage its symptoms. And when you manage a symptom in a complex, living, intelligent, biochemical system, i.e. the human body, when into that smorgasbord of wonder you throw man-made synthetic drugs, you're going to create a problem. It's only a matter of time. Fire your MD now. Back after these words. Yeah, we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Join the live stream, by the way, the drgliddenshow.tv, the drgliddenshow.tv. There are, let me see, 56 people in attendance. Lori Patrick, Heather the Wellness Gal, Barb, Barry, Amelia, Candace, Carol, Slater, Claire, Claude in Berlin's in the house. Cora, Donna in North Carolina, Eric in Memphis, David in Winnipeg, Dr. Ken, Diane, Denise, Gary, Heather, Dean, John, Grievous, Janet, G, or J, Jessica, Beck, Gary, Patty, Ron, Robin in Florida, Matthew Tokov, Renee Silverthorne, Ann Arbor, Miguel Colon, Cartagena, Theron, Dean, Ryan, Stephanie, Arnold, Teresa, rain, more rain in Iowa. It's headed our way, too. And so many more. 59 people now in the house. Check out the live stream. Check out the live chat. Become a member of this rapidly growing community. The drgliddenshow.tv, or just go to my website, drglidden.com, and check it out. Where did I read? My people are destroyed by lack of knowledge. Doesn't matter. Look, right, that's an Old Testament thing, right? It doesn't matter if you're Catholic, doesn't matter if you're Christian, doesn't matter if you're a Jew, doesn't matter if you're a Hindu or a Muslim, doesn't matter if you're Baha'i, doesn't matter what your religious ilk is, doesn't even matter if you're an atheist, for goodness sake. It is apparent and obvious to those with eyes to see and ears to hear that our health is getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. We are not getting better. Life expectancy shrinking, autism skyrocketing, Alzheimer's skyrocketing, arthritis skyrocketing, high blood pressure skyrocketing. Obesity, don't even talk to me about obesity. 30%, one-third, 33% of adults obese, tripled in the childhood population in the U.S. in the last 20 years. Obesity in kids. While we have given our lives and our trust and to the MDs and our money to the medical insurance concerns, our health has gone steadily downhill. And because this is such an overarching phenomenon, because it happens to everybody all of the time, and probably because of some mind control satellite in the upper stratosphere, we all just bend over and take it. We're all in the matrix, ladies and gentlemen. We are. We're in a medical matrix of sorts where we've just gotten used to mediocrity. We've gotten used to getting sicker as we get older. We've gotten used to needing a prescription medication to pee, a prescription medication not to pee, a prescription medication to poop, a prescription medication not to poop, prescription medication for our heartburn, a prescription medication for the blood sugar, prescription medication for the blood pressure, prescription medication to fall asleep, prescription medication to wake up, prescription medication for the skin, prescription medication for the prescription medication. This is normal to us. You know, Dr. Wallach tells the story. He's been traveling all around the country all around the world, quite frankly, for the last 20 years. 300 free lectures a year. He's in the airport all the time. He said that, 15 years ago when he started doing this or whenever, he'd meet people, waiting to get on the plane, sitting next to him, and they'd show him the pictures of their kids and their grandkids, right? Just as a way of pleasant conversation. Now what do people do? They show them their prescription medications, bags of them. This is how bad it's gotten. We have lost our way. We've lost our way. And so, you know how bad it is? Okay, we see this all the time in the chat room. We see this all the time in people that call in. So, let's say you have, an arthritic condition, and you go to the MD, and they tell you, you need a fake knee. So they give you the fake knee, and then 4 years later, the fake knee that they gave you starts to go south. So what are you going to do? You have to go back to them, and they get another one in. And then, then your other knee goes. So what are you going to do? You have to go back to them because it's the only show in town. So even though they let you down, even though their therapeutics don't deliver what they told you they deliver, even though you get less than perfect results, you continue to go back to them. Continue to go back to them. They screw you up and screw you up and screw you up, and we go back and we go back and we go back because we don't know there's a difference. We don't know there's a different way. It's insanity. Because my people are destroyed by lack of knowledge. And it's true. People are destroyed by what they don't know. And honestly, the stuff that we bring to the table is so far outside of people's area of knowledge that they didn't even know they didn't know that. I didn't know that. For instance, heartburn is caused by a deficiency in salt and a deficiency in calcium. Did you know that salt is one of the most important foods you can eat? Do you know that butter is good? We've been telling people butter is good for 100 years, and finally Time Magazine agrees. You see the last edition of Time Magazine that finally says eat butter? Talked about that last week. It's a Procter & Gamble PR stunt to make you believe that Crisco was better than butter, and what did we get as a result? Heart disease. And I'm the quack. Stick around. Cooking with gas today, ladies and gentlemen. Cooking with gas today. Dr. Peter Glidden chatting it up on the commercial breaks here in the chat room. Join the live chat. 64 people now watching the live stream. drglidden.com or the drgliddenshow.tv. And that beats a poke in the eye with a sharp stick. Let's go to Tennessee and see what Nancy is up to. Hey, Nancy, thanks for the call. You are live.
Hi. Okay, I'm taking the Healthy Start Pack and extra selenium for some dental work that I had done, and just health in my dental, cavities or whatever. Anyway, I am starting to have really bad breath, and my husband is noticing it, and he's telling me that it's really bad. Just within the last week, it's gotten worse. And then another issue I have is just sort of dizzy-headedness a lot.
Okay, so are you taking the selenium as a standalone product?
Well, I take the Healthy Start Pack, and then I take selenium in addition to that.
All right, how much do you weigh?
140.
And how many selenium do you take a day?
I was starting out at 9 a day, and I've kind of cut back to about anywhere from maybe 2, sometimes up to 6 a day.
All right, so I want you to stop the selenium completely for 72 hours. Don't take any extra selenium for 72 hours, 3 days in a row. See if your breath clears up. If there's no change to your breath, it's a dental issue. It's not a nutritional supplement issue. Okay?
Okay.
Now, if there is a change to your breath, it's too much selenium. And so we have to hit a dose and stick with it in order to judge, its effects on the body. And at your body weight, what I would do, if it was the selenium and then you start to go back on it, I would start with 3 a day. I'd start with 3 a day. One between breakfast and lunch, one between lunch and dinner, one between dinner and bed in a perfect world. That's what I would do. And hang out with that dose for a couple of weeks. See if your breath is okay. And then increase, right? Go to 6 a day. And hang out with that dose for a couple of weeks and see if your breath is okay. But the first thing to consider if you get funky breath when you're taking these supplements is that it's too much selenium. But because of the pre-existing dental condition, it's possible there could also be something going on in there. That's the first cause of funky breath is a funky tooth, right? It is the first cause, or the first thing to think about in the diagnostic, array. So that's what I would do with that. Just back off the selenium completely and then see what happens and then throw it back into your body in small amounts as necessary. Now tell me this, Nancy. Since you've started, have you felt anything positive?
Well, I have always been take a lot of supplements and exercise and try to eat right. I've gotten rid of the 10 bad foods, but I would say that my body, I can see a difference in my body. I feel more and probably look more fit and toned.
Okay, great. Because this is the goal here, right? This is not about mediocre, maybe kind of, sort of, I feel a little bit better. It's not about that. Properly administered, holistic medical nutrition in a comprehensive package is intended to produce a noticeable, measurable, positive change. Noticeable and measurable, positive change. Now, sometimes in people who are already in a relatively good state of health, the improvement that they glean from the longevity stuff, from our good nutritional program, is kind of like the little background aches and pains kind of fade into the distance, and then you forgot that you even had them in the first place, right? So that's entirely possible, but make no bones about it. The intention here is for noticeable, measurable. And my advice to you, as an experiment for 7 days, when you feel so inclined, take 2 more scoops of the Beyond Tangy Tangerine a day. 2 more scoops a day for 7 days and see how you feel. All right? And kind of be mindful during that 7-day period of, what time you go to bed, what time you wake up, your energy quality, all of that stuff, right? And you seem smart enough to be able to do that. But that's how I would handle that moving forward.
Okay. As far as dizzy-headed, it just, I kind of feel like my brain is like the top of my head is kind of weightless, and I feel sort of dizzy quite a bit.
Now, is that something that happened previous to longevity, or is this a brand new thing?
This has been going on probably for 3 or 4 years. Okay.
So the most common cause of that, and it's interesting to talk about, the technical term for that is vertigo. Mm-hmm. And there are many different types of vertigo, one of which is named after Dr. Wallach. Did you know that Dr. Wallach has a disease named after him? It's called Wallach's vertigo. He's the only naturopathic doctor I know that has a disease named after him. The first, second, and third thing to think about when somebody experiences that kind of top-of-the-head flying off, lightheaded sensation is osteoporosis of the skull, which sounds a lot worse than it actually is. I did a webinar about this, and, I can only explain so much in a couple of minutes, right? But on my website, in the Insider subscription service, $20 a month, cancel at any time, right? You'll have access to an hour-long webinar that I did, complete with slides and pictures and a really pretty thorough explanation in layman's terms, right? I keep it real easy to understand, of the process that forwards this particular type of vertigo. And the webinar that I'd like you to watch is called Ringing in the Ears, because from our point of view, ringing in the ears, the technical term is tinnitus. Vertigo, many different types of vertigo, lazy eye, Bell's palsy, tic douloureux, and one other, and obscuration of smell, like funny smells in the nose or no smells in the nose, funny sensations of taste or no taste in the mouth, and chronic laryngitis are all caused by the same thing. It's all osteoporosis of the skull. And it's a relatively easy thing to get on the other side of. It just means that your skull, in this case, needs more minerals and needs more nutritional support. And as your skull bone gets more healthy, then we would expect the dizzy symptoms to fade into the distance. So I would check that out. I'd just become an insider, even if it's just for 1 month. Check that video out and take a run with the nutritional supplements and see what you think.
I will do that.
All right, Nancy, you're the greatest. Appreciate your call. Keep up the good work in Tennessee. Utah is up next. Hey, Denise, thanks for the call. You are live.
Hi, Dr. Glidden. How are you today?
Well, I'm pretty great. I'm going to be in Park City, Utah, God willing, and the creek don't rise in a couple of days to do some videotaping for a television series. How about that?
Nice. That'll be fun. Hopefully it'll be cooler up there than I'm in St. George, so it's a bit hot down here.
Oh, yeah, you guys down in the south, man. Woo-hoo! Summer's not the best time of the year to be in St. George, eh?
It's better than being anywhere else in the winter. So
touche to that. So what's happening?
My husband has been diagnosed with hiatal hernia.
Oh, yeah.
And extremely bad acid reflux.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So, I'm going to ring my own bell here, right, as I am wont to do from time to time. I have my Insider subscription service, and as part of that service, we have 100 hours of archived health webinars. One of the best webinars I think I ever did was on heartburn. I mean, it's a great webinar. It's because I love telling people about this because it's so easy to understand and it makes such perfect sense. And nobody's ever lined this up for people, and when they see it the way that I explain it to them, they go, holy smokes. Why doesn't my doctor know that? I mean, this is easy. This is like not even medical school stuff. This is like college biology stuff or even high school biology stuff. Why the heck does my doctor not know this? I don't know why your doctor doesn't know this. Well, I know why your doctor doesn't know this because your doctor's an idiot. Well, not an idiot. Your doctor's a reductionist and an intellectual coward who doesn't question at all what they've been taught and who doesn't really see through the smoke and mirrors thrown in front of them by the educational process. But that's a long-winded way of saying I have a really good informational webinar that you could just have your husband watch, and if he hears it from me, he's more likely to do it than if he hears it from you or from somebody else, right? I mean, let's be honest, unless you guys have a real...
Absolutely. He's actually listening to you on the computer in the other room.
Okay, great. Well, there you go. See, I didn't even know him, but I know that's how guys are. I mean, because I'm the same way, right? So go to my website, become a subscriber just for 1 month. I mean, it's $20. Okay. $20. You can cancel after the first month if you want. Watch the webinar on heartburn, and it'll explain it in detail. I'll give you the Reader's Digest condensed version. Heartburn is caused by a deficiency in salt and a deficiency in calcium, period. That's the short story. It's a deficiency in salt and a deficiency in calcium. He, in fact, does not have too much stomach acid. That's impossible to do. It's impossible to do. You cannot make too much stomach acid. How does that happen? Ask his MD. What's the process behind that? How does that happen? The MD won't know, and the MD will say, oh, it's genetic. And if the MD says it's genetic, then you need to ask the MD, really, doctor, which gene is it? Your body can't make too much stomach acid, but it's really easy for your body to make not enough stomach acid, and when you have not enough stomach acid, you get heartburn. So he needs to start salting his food so that it tastes good, and he needs 90 essential nutrients appropriate for body weight with the liquid calcium, not the powdered calcium. And I would take 1 extra bottle or 2 extra bottles of liquid calcium a month. So the answer, the solution here is to support and promote a healthy digestive tract, and we do that with 1 healthy digestion pack per 100 pounds of body weight per month, and then 1 or 2 extra bottles of the liquid calcium a month, plus eliminate the 10 bad foods. I would expect he would get on the other side of this, within 21 days, if not sooner.
Does this address the hiatal hernia as well? Because I don't really know what that is.
Well, hiatal hernia is interesting, right? So in the architecture, the anatomy of the torso, you've got your skin, and then you've got a layer of connective tissue. It's kind of like cheesecloth. Then you got your muscles. Then you have another layer of connective tissue, and then you have your organs. In this case, the small intestine and the large intestine. When the connective tissue cheesecloth stuff becomes weak, the intestinal contents punch a hole through that and come out. It comes out right behind the skin where it shouldn't ought to be. It pooches through. It's kind of like if you had dry rot in the side of your house, you could just push your fist right through it. And well, that's not a good thing. So hiatal hernia is caused by nutritional deficiencies to the connective tissue in the abdomen. And so he also would then need connective tissue support, which would be glucogel and selenium. So in order to support connective tissue, which is a prudent thing to do in anybody with a hernia, the recommendation would be 1 or 2 bottles of selenium per 100 pounds of body weight per month, and 1 bottle of liquid glucogel plus per 50 pounds of body weight per month, and find a chiropractor or a massage therapist or somebody in St. George who has been trained in the Bowen technique, B-O-W-E-N, Bowen technique. Because if the hernia is not extreme, you don't need surgery to fix it. You can fix it with a physical medicine move, and the person who does the Bowen technique will know what this is. And then, if you give the body nutritional support, ostensibly you can strengthen that cheesecloth again so it doesn't happen in the future. That's what I would do. Do the medical nutrition. See if you can find somebody in your neck of the woods who does the Bowen technique, and let her rip. I tell you what, he's going to love how he feels. One person at a time, one body at a time, one mind at a time, one town at a time, one county at a time, one community at a time, one city at a time, one state at a time, one country at a time, then the world. And then I guess after the world's on our side, what are we going to do? Move to Mars? Probably. Check it out, ladies and gentlemen. You don't know what you don't know. And sadly, regretfully, when it comes to your health, the simple stuff that you need to know, you haven't been taught. And it's not difficult. If you can pass the driver's license test, you're smart enough to know what to do to support and promote your body's ability to fix itself. Now, why don't the MDs get behind us on this? They know that the system is failing. They know that they don't have enough doctors to keep up. They know that costs are ballooning. Why? Because what's the most expensive medicine? The one that doesn't work. They know that the United States Department of Education accredited the naturopathic medical schools in the United States, so they know it's a legitimate academic institution. They know that 17 state legislatures have, in their wisdom, decided to license and regulate naturopathic doctors because they think it's a good addition to their community. We don't actually hurt people the way that the MDs do. We actually bring a professional skill set to the table that nobody else does. We actually help people. We actually reduce the burden of medical care to the community. We do that. Insurance companies love us, by the way, when they're not founded and headed by MDs with their head ups their backsides. Because why? Because people under naturopathic care get better. We really practice health care. MDs practice disease management. Now, which is better from an insurance point of view? Someone who's on a program that gets their body healthier and healthier and then they don't need the medical procedure? Or somebody who needs a medical procedure every 6 months? It's a better job, better deal for the insurance company financially to back the naturopathic horse. And as more and more insurance companies figure this out, it gets better and better for us. But my point here is, we're licensed and regulated, graduate from fully accredited academic institutions in the United States. And you would think that the MDs would welcome us. Oh, come on, boys. Come on, girls. We need all the help we can get. Dr. Glidden, you're the greatest. I should have MDs calling me up every day. Dr. Glidden, you're doing a great public service here. The stuff that you're bringing to the table is awesome. It's really helping. It's really picking up the slack. Really doing a great job. We need to have 1,000 more Dr. Gliddens in the world. I completely support what you're doing. But that hasn't happened, and that's not going to happen. For goodness sakes, naturopathic medicine is only licensed in 17 states in the United States. You know what that means? That means we don't have a free medical market, and you've been screwed, glued, and tattooed by Big Pharma. This is not some fly-by-night medical thing. This is licensed, regulated medicine developed and delivered by physicians with a PH. Why? Why not? Hey, you know, give it a try. See how you feel. Listen to the show. Get on board the live chats. Become an insider. Get on board with the worldwide chats, and you'll see testimonials that'll bring you to tears. I've never said, and I never will say, because it's a lie, that we offer some panacea, golden pill, overnight cure for everything in the world. That's not what we do. And it's a gross mischaracterization, misrepresentation to think that way. I tell you what we do is we bring intelligence into the domain of medicine for the first time in 100 years. You actually have intelligent people driving the bus. We bring to the table science-based, clinically verified, boilerplate, foundation medical nutrition strategies for the masses, the intention of which are to help their bodies get stronger and healthier. Now, can somebody please tell me why this concept is not embraced by every medical professional in the world? Can somebody please tell me why? Well, I know why. Because Big Pharma don't want to lose the lion's share of the deal. It's a big bad voodoo daddy, ladies and gentlemen, the way that medicine is delivered here. It is a for-profit runaway train wreck. Just don't you be on the tracks when the train's coming for you. Jump off now into the light of longevity. drglidden.com is where you want to be. I'm going to the chat room right now. See you at 6 after the next hour. Stick around.